Does your inner critic say really mean things to you? And has this stopped you from writing because you're afraid that your inner critic is telling the truth? Hi, I'm Jennifer Gregson, a book coach who uses tarot to help writers get over writer's block, deal with imposter syndrome, and get to the end all with a smile on their face. So, who or what exactly is the inner critic? So, you may call it something else. You may call it the inner editor. I've called it that in the past. It's one of the phrases I use. It's that inner negative voice, the inner mean girl. You can call it a gremlin, a pain in the butt, the reason for your writer's block. It's that inner voice that tells you things like, you can't, you shouldn't, stop, don't. What are you thinking? You're not a writer. They're going to find out you're not a writer. This negative inner voice feeds off of the fears that we already have. And I feel like there are four main fears. There's the fear of failure, and the opposite, the fear of success. There's the fear of trolls. That's sort of like we're afraid to put ourselves out there because people might be mean to us on the internet. And then there's the fear of being found out, right? That fear of not being good enough, also known as imposter syndrome. When we feel these fears, that inner negative voice, that inner critic comes forward and starts talking very loudly, feeding off those fears, making us feel like crap. And they can tell us things that cause us to stop writing, hence writer's block. Because when we don't feel good about our own writing, why are we going to sit down and write? One of the biggest things I see a lot of writers say is that they don't feel like they are the right person, the right writer to tell the story idea that they have. They don't feel ready. They don't feel good enough. And I'm here to say that that is not true. That is just your fear getting in the way. And we all have these fears of not being good enough, of being found out as a fraud, of not being a real writer. I think every writer, no matter how many books they have published, feel this from time to time. And one of my big things that I help my clients and writers deal with is that voice by personifying the inner critic. So what exactly does that do? It puts the inner critic out here rather than in here. It gives you a focal image, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, so that you can talk to them, find out a little bit more about why they're there, why they're talking to you in this manner, what the fear is all about, and how to work with them rather than against them. Because once we put that inner critic out here, away from us, not in our own head, then we can deal with them without shame. We basically create a character, a personification, and then it's not about our voices, it's about their voices. And then we can work together and form a relationship. So some tools that you can start with right away is ask yourself some questions. So grab a journal, a notebook, open a Word document, and write down some of the things that your inner critic says to you and how that makes you feel, just to get a little bit of an idea. Be very, very, very gentle with yourself through this process. Give yourself some time. Don't rush the process at all. It could take a couple of days. It could take a couple of weeks. Really sit with it. Really maybe write down things as it comes to you, as you're sitting down to write. Let it be a flowy process. Then once you have some of that written down, then start thinking about what your inner critic looks like. And this can be literally anything you want. But I like to use this information then to choose a specific tarot card to help me focus. And you can literally go through your favorite deck and find a card that speaks to you, or you can shuffle the deck and choose one at random and see if it resonates. If you don't have tarot or you don't feel like using tarot for this process, you can use oracle cards, goddess cards. You can use Pinterest and find an image, magazine. You can even use pictures that you have around your house of someone either that you know or just like random people in the background. I have a friend that did this with her vacation photos, and she found people in the backgrounds of like some doubles, and used one of them, didn't know who that person was, but it gave them a focal point and it worked for her. So then once you have this focal image and you have some ideas of what they say and how they make you feel, just start the conversation. Now, I like to do this in one of two ways. You can write a letter or you can create a character worksheet. Sometimes, if you have really negative voices that are really keeping you from writing, I suggest you do both. Create a character worksheet. You know how to do this as a writer. Do it in the way that you love with your focal point. Come up with a character for your inner critic and then write them a letter. I like to just do it in my journal, but you can type it up if that's faster and just start asking them questions. Why are they here? What do they want to tell you? What messages are they trying to send? What would be really great for you to know? And then write a letter back as if you are your inner critic. And then just go back and forth. You ask questions, they answer. They ask questions, you answer. And you start to become really intimately aware of who this person is outside of your brain, and then you can form a working relationship. Now, if you need help with this, I am actually co-teaching a workshop in January with my friend Sage. I'm going to tell you about her in a minute, and we're going through all about how to work with your inner critic. It is called Creating with Your Inner Critic, and it's going to be a live Zoom workshop on January 14th, 2023. My friend Sage is a published author and book coach with over 18 years of experience. She is also a certified cosmic smash booking coach, and that is what her part of the workshop is actually going to take you through. It's this really cool collage journaling amazingness that's going to help you get a lot of your emotions about your inner critic out on the page. And then I'm going to come in and work through this personification process even more in depth than what this video went through. And by the end of it, you're going to have this beautiful relationship with your inner critic that you can take and expand upon and really start creating beautiful work on your own without that inner negative voice stopping you. If this sounds really interesting, the link is in the box below. If it is past January, look below for other information, either a waitlist or a replay button. And if you have any questions, drop them in the box below. But if you start with this very tiny step of personifying your inner critic and start figuring out, excavating and wondering, just being curious as to what exactly you can do with this inner voice, I feel like is a huge step toward breaking through the writer's block. I hope you have a lovely end of 2022. I look forward to seeing you in early January. Again, the workshop is January 14th. And it will be a live Zoom workshop for 3 hours. There is some pre-work, so if you want to get in now, there is some stuff that you can do beforehand to get all ready. Let me know if you have any questions, and write on.